Hello to myself and everyone watching this video. I'm come back with the English reading practice series, and the topic for today is about managing Earth's greenhouse. So let's go. Managing Earth's greenhouse. First, introduction. Since the late 20th century, climate scientists have been observing more and more evidence of global warming, that is, an increase in Earth's surface temperature over time. Although the cause of global warming remains a matter of contention, the existence of global warming is an unequivocal fact. In addition, widespread melting of snow and ice and the rising of sea levels that result are a clear indication that global warming is not a myth. Most climate scientists warn that the consequences could be dire if global warming continued at its present rate. Climate conditions around the world could change, bringing alteration in wind and precipitation patterns. In addition, we could experience a high frequency of extremely weather events such as droughts, heat waves, and floods. There is also broad agreement in the scientific community that global warming is primarily caused by human activity. Except for a small group of skeptics, scientists are generally convinced that we need to make some major behavioral changes in order to avoid widespread disruption of life on Earth. Fortunately, most experts believe that we can still curb the future effect of global warming if both governments and individuals make some changes now. For the first logical step toward making informed decision about what we can do in response to the situation is to identify the facts about global warming and its potential effects. Second, facts about global warming. There is undeniable evidence that global warming results from rising concentration of gases such as carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, and methane in the atmosphere. These so-called greenhouse gases allow sunlight to pass through them and warm the earth. The earth then releases that heat in the form of energy called infrared radiation. The gases trap some of the outgoing heat and prevent it from escaping into space, similar to the way the glass sides and roof of a greenhouse work. The resultant rise in the temperature on Earth is known as the greenhouse effect. Some degree of the greenhouse effect is essential for life on Earth. Without a blanket of gases around the planet, most of our heat would escape back into space, and life on Earth would be too cold for plants and animals to survive. However, in recent years, the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has been increasing at an unprecedented rate. Analysis of the air contained glacier ice shows that over the last 2 centuries, there has been an increase of more than 30% in the chief greenhouse gas, CO2. Moreover, concentration of this gas has been increasing rapidly from decade to decade since the late 1950s. Level of atmospheric CO2 has reached record highs, rising from the 18th century high of 290 ppm parts per million to almost 396 parts per million in 2012. Scientists generally agree that a safe level of CO2 is 350 parts per million. The release of some CO2 into the atmosphere happens naturally. However, human activity is responsible for most of the accumulation of this gas. The primary cause is the growth of industry, which began in Europe in the mid-19th century and has continued around the world ever since. The process of industrialization in all countries has developed on the burning of coal, oil, and natural gas to produce energy, and the burning of these fossil fuels is considered to be the chief source of CO2 emissions. The accumulation of CO2 is also attributable to deforestation, particularly the burning of trees in the tropical rainforests of South America, and Asia. Furthermore, since trees absorb huge quantities of CO2, the earth loses natural capacity to absorb the gas when the forests are destroyed. Although CO2 is the most prevalent greenhouse gas, there are others that are even more damaging to the atmosphere, such as HFCs. HFCs are gases that serve as coolants in refrigerators and air conditioners. The wide use of HFCs by manufacturers since the 1990s were motivated by the need to replace the CFCs that were formerly used in these appliances. CFC began to be phased out because they harm the ozone layer, a layer of gas that protects Earth from harmful solar radiation. Although HFCs do not destroy the ozone layer, they are more dangerous than CO2 because they trap even more heat. Atmosphere HFC are of particular concern today because of the increasingly widespread use of air conditioners in the developing world, especially in India and China. Just as industrialization and modern appliances have contributed to increased emission of greenhouse gases, so too has agriculture. Since mid-20th century, there has been a tremendous expansion of rice growing and cattle farming in order to feed the growing population of the world. These types of agriculture are both major sources of methane, though heating retaining properties are approximately 20 times greater than those of CO2. In the recent years, the accumulation of the heat-trapping greenhouse gases has caused average global temperature to rise at a much more rapid rate than in the past. Data show that Earth's average global temperature increased by about 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit, 0.8 degrees Celsius over the past 100 years, with about 1 degree Fahrenheit of this warming occurred over just the past 3 decades. Scientists have also observed that 2011 was the 19th warmest year since the 1880, when record keeping began. Since the 1970s, each decade has gotten progressively warmer, and 9 of the 10 warmest years have occurred in the 21st century. Despite the abundance of well-established facts about global warming, there is still some uncertainty in predicting just how much temperature will rise in the future. To make such predictions, scientists use computer models based on assumptions about the rate of increase of CO2 in the atmosphere, using such as models the National Research Council in the United States recently predicted that average global temperatures are likely to increase between 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit and 11.5 degrees Fahrenheit by 2100. Many climate experts have stressed the importance of preventing a future rise of more than 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And some believe that the threshold needs to be even lower in order to avoid dangerous climatic effects. 3. Potential effects of global warming. It is likely that an increase at the lower